A few years ago, I want to tell you this. A few years ago, my wife and I went to Italy. We got invited by a friend of mine. His family had a hotel in Tuscany, which turned out to actually be a 6th century restored monastery that was one of the most unfathomably beautiful places I've ever been. And even though the jet lag kicked our ass with a 9-hour change, we had the most stunning, 5 days in this impossibly gorgeous location. And on the last day we were there, this British family came and they had done something on the Discovery Channel, and the food was amazing. The cook bought everything that morning, and the scotch was really old and smooth. And we were all really funny and fabulous, and I started to drink that, where you're constantly talking and filling your glass and wondering why no one else is drinking scotch as fast as you are. I didn't black out. I remember all 5 of the last scotches. I think actually at one point I ran back to my room to put on the pinstripe suit I bought that day to show everyone because it was so fabulous. It was Italy. And I woke up the next morning with the most epic hangover possible, really conceivable. Sometimes you wake up and you think we had to get up at 6 in the morning to make it to the Pisa airport to fly back to England. And sometimes you wake up and you feel hungover and you think, maybe it's gonna be bad. And then you wake up and it's not that bad, you start to function. This one was so much the antithesis of that. The longer I was awake, the worse things got. Coffee didn't help. A big, greasy, delicious eggs and bacon breakfast didn't help. Getting up at 6 in the morning didn't help. Driving to Pisa Airport in this big diesel van, passenger van, sleeping on the back seat until the driver slammed on the brakes on the highway and sent me careening into the seat ahead of me with my glasses flying off my head into the wheel well didn't help. And if there was a movie being filmed outside Pisa Airport in which a car full of frat boys pulls up, I played the part perfectly because we got to Pisa Airport, I literally woke up, opened the door, and vomited right on the street in front of Pisa Airport. And then I looked up and hoped that no one would recognize me. And I thought that was it. That you throw up and it's pretty much uphill from there. But no. Okay, there was a little bit of uphill because we had frequent flyer miles and we got up to first class. So we got in first, we sit in first class, and I'm sitting in the aisle, and I'm starting to look at the bathroom because I can tell that the worst is not over, I'm going to have to throw up again. And the only question is, am I going to throw up now, or do I really have to throw up? It's feeling like it might, or do I wait the inevitable 15-minute lag time between the time the door closes and the plane's at 35,000 feet? Am I going to be able to hold that 15 minutes? Because I don't want to throw up in the little bag. My wife tries to talk to me, I'm like, no, 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 no. Staring at the door, staring at the door. Finally I realize, I think it's gonna happen. I think the disconnect has really occurred. I'm gonna boot. So I make my way to the bathroom and I close the door. And I'm now in the tiny little bathroom, and anyone who's ever tripped on acid will tell you the bathroom is the last place you want to go. It's like the portal of bad things. And I'm in this bathroom, and the moment I close the door and it smells bad and I'm feeling nauseous, I'm also struck with the need for the post-grog bog that I need to poop. And it's really a powerful urge, and these 2 powerful urges are working against each other. And I found out that there's a name for this condition. It's called the rooster tail. And now I'm unsure about which end to present to the little toilet. Eventually I figure, okay, I'm gonna poop, so I go like this, and the smell is so god-awful that I immediately have to throw up. Isn't that a great story? And I think to myself, I wouldn't wish this on my worst enemy. And so I'm going to present to you 100 real wishes. Molly's brother, are you in the audience? Where are you? Molly's brother, James. Come up here, I need your help. I've got these 100 cards, and I'm going to need to flip them, but I can't flip them and control the computer all at the same time, so I need a card flipper. Yeah, come on up. James, give it up for James. All right, sir. I'm going to start reading these in order, and every time I read one, go ahead and move it over to here. Okay? You good? All right, cool. 100 wishes. I'd like a lightsaber. A real lightsaber, not one of those ones that glows. Those are cool, and I have 5 of those. Not an aluminum one you make on a lathe. I've got like maybe 17 of those. No, I want like the real thing, plasma sword. I want a pony. Or a horse. I just like to ride a horse frequently. Doesn't that look like fun? I'd like to spend a month by the beach in Hawaii. It would be nice. I wish I had a house in Laurel Canyon. I'd like to play the piano. Specifically, I'd like to be able to play the piano and sing at the same time. I'd like to forge my own suit of armor. Now, here's me in my suit of armor, but I didn't make it myself. It's a cheap thing from eBay, although I did get to wear it underwater with some sharks. I would like to ride a balloon over Africa. Wouldn't that be awesome? Yeah. One thing I haven't done on the show is fire a rocket launcher. It's just a ticking clock, really, I mean, until we find an excuse, but I'd really like to fire one and see what it's like. I'd like to build my own house. I'd like to really be able to handle a samurai sword, specifically like slicing a baseball in half, like the bride from Kill Bill. I wish I could have a beer. Oh, I wish I could have a beer with Hellboy. I think we would get along. Oh, I wish I could breathe underwater. I have this dream, much more infrequently than flying, that I can breathe underwater, and it's the most fabulous feeling in the world. You should try it. I wish I could play in a I'd like one day to play in a high-stakes poker game and to do respectably well in that game. I would like to go somewhere cool just for the purpose of taking photographs. And actually, about a week and a half ago, I was in London with my family, and I took, I think, one of the best photographs of my life of my son Addison there. I told him that if he ever becomes a rock star, that's his album, first album. Freewheeling Addison Savage. When I finally have my dream house, I'd like it to be surrounded by a little greenery, a little bit of woods with a little maybe body of water nearby it. Basically, nothing like this. Share the Kincaid hatred. I'd like a swimming pool. I'd like a secret passageway. And I'd like it to open when you pull out only one specific book. I have not yet decided on which one. I wish I could go back to the 1940s and into fiction and drive through Los Angeles with Philip Marlowe. I think he's a really good driver. I'd like to ride a really, really long zip line. This one looks pretty good. I'd like to skydive alone over a really cool landscape. I'd like to rappel into a rescue, and for those of our friends in the UK, I'd like to abseil into a rescue. I'd like a big, oh, there we go. I'd like to hang out on the set of a Quentin Tarantino film for a week. And I'd like to not have to hide. I'd like a really fancy set of night vision goggles. I want a droid. And that's the real R2-D2, and it's not good enough. And even though I made my own, that's the one I have in my office that I built, and it's still not enough. I want the real thing. I want to go to Contra Station and pick up some power converters. This is the wish that started it all. I was wondering what to talk about, and I was watching Serenity. And I was watching Wash land Serenity, and I was thinking, I would love to be an actor in a science fiction movie. This is the full meta, where I'm piloting my own spaceship. Like just once, a little spaceship even. I'd like to scuba dive or snorkel for a whole afternoon with a whale. One day, I'd like to see the Earth from space. I wish I could see Pulp Fiction again for the first time in the theater. Remember how awesome that was? I'd like to build a working set of Wolverine claws. For the record, nothing like this guy's. And actually, maybe I don't really want them. Someday I'd like to act in a play with my wife. I picture in my fantasy that in our older years we become the Lunt and Fontanne of some local dinner theater in a small town. This is actually Lunt and Fontanne.